Howdy y'all, my name's Z66 or Zakag, your underpaid, undertrained, underinsured mechanic, and welcome to my channel. I have quite a few different things I do on this channel, including car repair, which is a big chunk of it. I have a little bit of foreign and domestic that I do. Now on this channel we also have my initial reviews of devices and tools called premature evaluations. We have tool recovery where I get old tools and bring them back to life and clean them up. We have anatomy of failure where I go over why a part failed and I explain some of the issues. I've also done some financial information, including how to finance a gun through Bud's Gun Shop. Might be something interesting for everybody on this channel. And along with repairing an odd assortment of domestic and foreign cars, we also do a bit of cooking on this channel. And I hope you enjoy it. Be sure to take a moment to like, comment, subscribe, and keep an eye out. You never know what might be popping up. It might be something new that you like. That's all I got to say. You have a good one. Hello everyone, Z66, your underpaid, undertrained, and uninsured mechanic. And today, we are going to do a ride the pony review on the set of Quinn screwdrivers. Now, you have seen them, Harbor Freight actually linked out to my video, and you're wondering why I bought another set. Well, basically, a bunch of all those Harbor Freight tools I bought for my job got stolen. It's kind of crazy how that worked. And, I didn't get to review the video camera footage, but I was told, but it's, not suspicious at all at the job. But anyway, so I'm going to be going over some things that I reviewed in my old video, and I'm going to go over some things and give you some of my opinions on it. So, let's get started. So, with all due fun, let's start talking. Now, if we wanted to be honest, like me not talking about anything, what I'd say about these are pretty good screwdrivers. And for the price and the warranty, not a half bad deal. Just being honest with you. I like the Huskies from Home Depot a little more, but I mean, that's just kind of a thing. The one thing I will say about the Husky grips when you're working on the Husky screwdrivers, the grips are more comfortable. Once you get them really greasy, they get hard to use. So, let's start talking about a few things. So I know these aren't the same ones that I bought and I used, and I wish I could have shown you those, but they are currently owned by someone else that I probably used to work with now, that stole them, and was kind of notorious for being a thief. I'll tell that I'll do a whole series about jobs. So, talking about these were really good screwdrivers. And on the Ride the Pony reviews, amount of yeehaws would give this about a 4 out of 5 yeehaws for. So I used these for when I was doing repairs. I put together a lot of furniture, took apart a lot of furniture with them. They did really good. And I will tell you this, and Harbor Freight, you might be watching, you might not. I abused these. I purposely abused these to try to break them. And I never could. Like, I used them as pry bars, wedged them between lawnmowers and stuff. Like, I was pretty rough on them. Now, I'm going to tell you my few complaints I have with these up front. Which isn't really complaints per se, but just more of general statements. So, I've got some older Mac tools, screwdrivers that I've got right here. Now, these are both very long and big flatheads. And they're not going to be the most easiest thing to use. This is one of my personal favorite flatheads ever. I've got a longer one back home for getting into stuff. These screwdrivers and Phillips are just really big. And these aren't as big, but they have big shafts, which not a terrible thing, but not necessarily the best thing. It's kind of a double-edged sword because these are really strong. Like, I wedged them and beat on them. Great. They held up fine. It's just I found the size of the screwdrivers, because they're kind of large, but the average screwdriver is pretty large these days. They got in the way, and they were a little bulky to use. Not really a complaint, just. But you did get this where you could, if you want to, hook a vice grip on here to help get some extra leverage in case you didn't want to do this whole trick. So let me talk about the other complaint. The Phillips head, I really liked it, but I felt like it was one of the lesser useful ones. They are magnetized, pretty good, not super good. I lost a lot of screws with them. You know, this design, and I've got one right here, was very wide or very shallow, and I'll grab a couple of them to show you. See, they're not bad, but they were all kind of big. Like, I'm going to show you the smallest one in this Mac. See, not necessarily bad, it's just they were all big for what you got. And I found, especially with the bigger ones, I really didn't use much because there wasn't much I could put them in, and they didn't fit screws well. I also felt like I stripped screws out a little bit with them. Not saying anything bad. If you use the right one and got it in there, it's fine. I'm not saying you can't use them. I'm just saying that was my biggest complaint. It's just kind of the size and this super wide ground. Maybe there's a science reason. I just found that was the one complaint. And it wasn't really an issue I dealt with all the time. It was just ungodly. Just like, oh, okay. It's just kind of a complaint. Like, when I was doing my job, they worked fine. My other complaint, let's see. I discussed the size of them. The magnetic was kind of weak, and the size of the Phillips. I mean, realistically, I don't really have any complaints. I mean, these were really good. They weren't necessarily the most bestest thing ever for working on cars and engine bays, but I mean, you may not use it for this. You may just need some screwdrivers around the house. And I bought this again for like 30 bucks when I bought them on the video. I bought them for 20. Ain't any inflation fun. But, you know, elections have consequences. The joke, don't get upset. But for a lot less than it costs to fill up with gas, or to, you know, spend a lot less money on Tinder, it's not bad for what it is. Are there better screwdrivers out there? Sure. Do I like these Macs better? Yes. But was this one Mac probably more than, say, 3 of these screwdrivers? Yes. But if you just need some tools around the house, can't really go bad. I mean, like, you know, I know this was like the start of their Quinn line. Well, one thing, I know they put it here, but this is just my OCD. I would have rather it said Quinn over here. That's one slightly just weird one. And I also, the little screwdrivers, they're just a smooth plastic, and the second your hands got wet or a little greasy, you just spun them. They didn't have the knurling or texturing like these. That was something that kind of sucked. These were kind of useless most of the time. Not saying I didn't use them, but if your hands were sweaty, you had gloves on, it just kind of sucked. I'm not saying they're bad. For 99% of the time, they're great. Like, I use them as pry bars. I've lifted up lawnmower decks with them and pried couches, even fridges and stuff. Really should have broke them, but they've done great. Are the best screwdrivers in the world? No, but for the price, you can't beat it. The fit and finish was good. I even used them some as impact screwdrivers, and like, to be honest with you, the handles hold up really well. Cause this is literally a fresh box cutter blade, but the rubber holds up well. The plastic, and I'm not saying you can beat on it with a hammer all the time, but I used it. I did it occasionally. I know I've got specialty ones for it, but I did it. They did good. And in like the year plus I used these, or a year or so, I really never had one fail. I never had one just break. They're great. Do they have some shortcomings? Sure. But I could talk about how I don't like some things on my Hussey screwdrivers, or some things I didn't like about my Carlisles, or some things I don't like about the back. So, I mean, everything has a plus or minus, and some things work better. Sometimes you need a really long flathead to push a pin in, or unclip a bolt, a fog light at the bottom of a car. Do you need this? Probably not. But for $30 and you need some screwdrivers you don't feel bad abusing, nah, not a bad deal. Would I buy these again? Yes, because I did. I did buy them again. And if I thought it was going to suck, I would have just pulled footage from when I first had it out and voiceover be like, listen, I bought this tool. It was sucky. I'm not spending it again. It got stolen. God help the poor person that has to use this terrible tool. May he forever suffer. 1,000 scuds upon him. But anyway, I know I'm kind of rambling. But assuming major quality changes haven't happened, but these honestly feel like my old ones. These are good screwdrivers. The grips were good. They weren't uncomfortable. You could get a good grip and purchase on them. I really don't have any complaints. So, we're going to sum up my complaints. One, they were kind of bulky with the shanks and stuff, but that's one of those things, it's kind of me just being weird about it. Two, these little ones with the smooth plastic were basically useless when your hands got sweaty or greasy. I mean, yeah, you could grip them, but they just spun in your hands and twisted your hand fat, and it hurt. So, I didn't like that. Like, honestly, I'd rather just not get these and save a couple dollars because I used them so little and they were so useless. That's just me being... grips held up fine. When I got them really greasy, you know, they slid a little bit, but that's kind of true of any screwdriver when you get them really greasy. They held up good. I very much abused them. So, I mean, size of them, the shanks are kind of big. These Phillips kind of suck. You can still use them, but they're not my favorite in the world just because they're so large. I feel like you had to really get one to fit good if it didn't want to round out. That's the biggest complaint. So, I mean, for $30-something and you need some screwdrivers or ones you don't feel like using, buy them. They're not bad. Are there better ones? Of course. But, like I said, I bought these a second time. $10 more than I originally bought them with no coupon. I'm still salty about that Harbor Freight, by the way. But if I bought these twice and as cheap as I am about some of this stuff, you can't go wrong. So, we're giving this 4 yeehaws out of 5 yeehaws for Ride the Pony reviews. And if you didn't have these few odds and ends you didn't like about them, I mean, then they'd be perfect. I mean, you can never have enough screwdrivers, especially ones you don't feel bad about abusing. And, you know, life is about trying tools, finding things that work. But, this has been Z66. I hope you enjoyed. You have a good one. Bye-bye. Well, everyone, this is Z66, your undertrade, undershirt, and underpaid mechanic, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to like, subscribe, comment below, because tell your mama, tell your grandmother, tell your doctor, because I can't do this alone, and I can't pay for these Ray-Bans without your help. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed this video. You have a good day now. Goodbye.